Welcome to the BetMoorSports Podcast. We're coming at you live and direct from Norfolk, Virginia. I am your host, Avery Fuller, sitting with my co-host today, Stephen Troutman Bay, a.k.a.
The Guru.
And we got a ton to bring to the table today, including some NFL, some NBA. We even got some baseball and hockey. But first, let's start with boxing. Over the weekend, it was pretty significant of how boxing went. We got Norfolk's own Keyshawn Davis. He put on a show. If you didn't know, then now you know, and take a look because you'll see. And yes, my man put in work. As you can see, he represented us well. You see that Norfolk on them shorts? The Norfolk on them shorts stood out. It looked real nice, and he actually co-headlined to a degree. I don't feel like it was co-headline, but that's how it was treated on the Shakur Stevenson card. But if we just talking about Keyshawn, what you think of the fight, Guru?
Excellent fight, man. Excellent fight from the youngin. I never seen nobody get hooked that many times consecutively.
Yeah.
And to the degree that he got hooked, like every hook came with bad intentions.
Brutal
like
force.
None of the hooks that was thrown was like to set you up for nothing. These was to really put you out of here. And to my man's defense, he had one of the strongest chins I ever seen in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
It's no way you get hit with that many hooks in a row and you're not defending yourself and you don't go down. And I don't think, like I seen uppercuts to hooks, he really had his way.
Right.
And he couldn't knock him down. Like, to me, that was amazing.
That made a pump, but I don't know why that's the case. Like, why when somebody getting hit that much, they trying so hard not to go down that they're going to just continue to get hit even though they can't defend themselves. But I'll tell you one thing. He was a trooper. He was a soldier going against the president or something. Straight up, because my man Rap.
The businessman.
Straight up. He put in that work, and I'm a big fan of. Shout out to Keyshawn. Keep it up. On that same card, we had Shakur Stevenson. But before we get to him, I want to talk about the fight between Amanda Serrano and Katie Holmes. I don't know if you watched that fight.
I turned from it. I didn't.
The fight was substantial. I feel like Serrano won the fight, but Katie Holmes' hands are so fast, it's stupid. Like when I say she was throwing 3-punch combos while Serrano was throwing 1 punch. The only problem is her hands was too fast because she was missing. For her 3 punches she threw, she probably landed 1, if that.
It was crazy for them to put the fights on at the same time.
Yeah, that wasn't fair. I feel like it wasn't fair to the women in that regard because
right.
But they held their own, and truthfully, I feel like they should be a Fight of the Year candidate.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I
And
need to go check it out.
I feel like they should do it again because I feel like Serrano put that work in, even though Katie looked. Serrano had Katie looking the worst I've ever seen Katie look in a fight, and that's because she hurt her. She hurt her substantially. So, but outside of that, the Shakur Stevenson fight was pretty interesting, and I found that interesting because he was in a pro Oscar Valdez crowd,
Right.
And everything he did, it was like everything was against him. So for him to be able to stand up in that type of environment and not just, win, but he beat him up.
He made him look bad, too.
He
To be
did.
honest, that's the worst I ever seen
Yeah.
Oscar Valdez look. He made him look terrible, to be honest. Like, beat the man like a drum.
It's weird because Oscar landed a ton of shots on him, more shots than probably anybody ever landed on him, but they had no effect. And Shakur looked so much bigger.
He did, didn't he?
He looked like he was fighting at a weight that Oscar shouldn't have been at.
Right.
But I know it was
I thought it was just me.
Yeah, I know it was based on him kind of hydrating. You know what I'm saying? And building himself back up because he's naturally fast, so that ain't nothing you're going to do about that. But you know, shout out to Shakur, shout out to Keyshawn.
Shout out Shakur and Keyshawn. I gave y'all both of those picks, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I had Shakur going over 10.5 rounds.
I tell you better subscribe, because one thing that the guru do is
it's going to win you some money.
he just giving people money. I just keep winning. So I'm just going to keep winning while y'all keep listening and watching. But anyway, next up, we're going to talk about some NBA. Let's get right to the NBA side of things. Let's talk about Philly and James Harden. And what do you feel like Philly has to do to at least stall the series until Embiid come back?
James Harden got to be the MVP James Harden.
Yep.
Not the playoff James Harden.
You think he got it in him? You think he can still do that?
I can't say, because he hasn't proven that he can.
He definitely hasn't shown it.
I want to say he can because I believe he can.
Mm-hmm.
However, he hasn't shown any signs. And his teammates is kind of frustrated with him.
Yeah. Tyrese Maxey.
Totally disrespected him, man. Like he was the second or third year player,
right.
And James, you know what I mean? Like James Harden was the second or third year player, and he was the superstar.
It's weird because it don't even seem like James Harden got the hunger that I'm accustomed to seeing from him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he in a game, and it seemed like he's just a regular person. He's not a superstar. He's just a star.
And it's weird because he's playing for a max contract. So that makes it even weirder that this is the season and it's the time. Like, this is the time for you to really
show up
out. Because there's no superstar on the court other than you.
Yeah, exactly. And he ain't doing it.
And there's no bigger superstar on either team bigger than you.
Which is crazy.
And you're underperforming. Like, he had 16 points in game one.
And that shouldn't be. I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. And I feel bad that man's legacy is going to be surrounded around. It's like, if he, I feel like if he dropped the ball, shit the tank, fuck up again, I feel like even if he win championships, it's not going to change his legacy. Because his
he dropped the ball here, ain't gonna be too many more championship opportunities.
And with that said, Guru, you think James Harden is worth a max contract?
No, not right now. Not the way he performing. No, absolutely not.
And that's gonna open the door for other issues. You know what I'm saying? Because it's James Harden, number one. And if you think about it, you can kind of put James Harden and Kyrie in the same boat.
I believe they kind of in the same boat. Like, I don't trust neither one of them long term.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only giving them 1 year contracts from here on out. Like, you got to prove it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that you definitely got to prove it. And he not doing it. And with no Embiid, which Embiid is sidelined right now with an orbital fracture.
Right.
With no Embiid, it's gonna be a whirlwind for Philly and a luxury yacht dance day party for Miami. You know, it's. I mean, truthfully, I would have picked Miami over Philly with Embiid. Now it's on steroids, especially if Embiid is delayed in his return. So it's hard to tell, but
Philly actually put up a fight in game one. Like, they was leading at halftime. Then I think they forgot that the game was played 2 halves instead of one.
They went to sleep.
And they kind of got whooped in the second half. And I think that's a lot to do with Doc Rivers.
So that was going to be my next question. What does it say about Doc?
Well, you know how I feel about Doc anyway. Like, I never was a huge Doc Rivers fan. Like, I felt like he had a team in Boston that he should have won more with.
Definitely should have won.
I felt like he had a team in L.A. that he should have at least got to the finals with. You know what I mean? He had a Chris Paul in his prime, a Blake Griffin in his prime. DeAndre Jordan was playing superb basketball at the time, and he just had a full roster.
So right now it sounds like he's just living off of that one championship.
And he's going to finish with that one championship.
Man.
Especially if Embiid don't come back strong and healthy in a series where it's at least tied.
Right. You're 100% right. Okay, so I I feel like Doc Rivers is overrated.
Totally.
You know, because I feel like a lot of it is more players than coach. But I don't know. I it's a tough position to be in if you're somebody like Doc Rivers or James Harden. But James Harden just got to do one thing. Even if they lose the series, the expectation without Embiid is for them to lose. But he has to show up. If they lose and he don't show up,
game.
Exactly. If he scored 30 a game, he'll be fine as far as a max deal.
Right. If he can score 30 a game and get his regular 8 to 12 assists a game, 6 to 10 rebounds a game, then yeah, he's worth the money because he's doing his part.
Right.
You know, he's getting the team involved. He's scoring. He's rebounding. He's playing James Harden basketball. The James Harden basketball that led him to the MVP.
Right.
The James Harden basketball that led him to the first big contract. You know? But he's not looking like that guy.
Before he got traded, they was talking about getting him the biggest contract ever.
Right. And Maxie looked at him like, nigga, I do not. He's a bum.
Maxie
like,
looking
why
at him
is
like,
you sitting
bruh,
beside me?
Let me get that contract because you don't need it.
Exactly. You taking some of my money.
Boy, I tell you. Okay, so let's talk about the Grizz and the Dubs then. It's a pretty good series, but it's physical, you know.
Yeah, they playing 1990s basketball out there. Not to that degree, but
that's what I like.
That's the way they reffing the game anyway. You know?
I hope they continue to go that route, but I also feel like a lot of what they was doing was uncalled for. Like, I don't feel like Draymond should have got ejected for a flagrant 2 foul that they called on him because he just grabbed the man's jersey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He grabbed the jersey. That's a part of the game. It ain't like he grabbed the jersey and slanted him on the ground.
But he hit him across the face. You know, that was the first initial thing that they saw, the wind up and the forcible blow.
It won't no wind up
to the face.
But I think that's the biggest thing. It won't no wind up. He literally raped him across the face, which truthfully is a part of the game. But I don't feel like that warranted a flagrant 2.
He almost dislocated the man's neck. That's how hard he hit him across the head. I agree now. I don't think he should have been kicked out the game because I've seen worse.
It's people.
It's just the way they're kind of reffing the games these days, according to the rules.
You think that they just reffing that way against Draymond?
Well, I think Draymond, his reputation caused him to get ejected.
Which, you think that's fair?
No, it's not.
Like, that's pretty messed up to... Like, what if he changed? What if he, went to rehab and changed his whole thought process and his mentality? Put on a leadership role and say, I'm going to be a better example. And then y'all hold him accountable for things he did in his past.
I actually seen something Draymond said that I kind of agree with. He said that, well, if you're going to ref me based upon reputation, then you got to ref me based upon that it's a great percentage of chance I get that steal, swiping at that ball that way. I usually get that steal, so if you're not going to give me the benefit of the doubt in one way, you can't kick me out the game.
Right. You can't.
You know what I mean? Like,
take
and
it
made
away.
Sense. Right. Because I do make this play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And being that I make this play a lot, you don't give me the benefit of the doubt in that regard.
So,
but I don't think Dylan Brooks should have been kicked out the game neither.
Yeah. It's weird because both teams need both of these guys, and they just ejected them like it's not the playoffs. It's annoying, but I guess it's a part of the game.
But what's weird is the fact that I feel like Memphis is actually better when Dylan Brooks and Ja not playing together. So it's not strange that they kick him out the game, and the game that they kick him out is the game they win.
Yeah, which is it wouldn't be weird to see them say, "Take a day off, Dylan."
But the Dylan Brooks foul did kind of take Gary Payton II out the game, and he was in the starting lineup primarily to disrupt Ja Morant. And I think now that he's out for the series, it's going to expose Klay Thompson.
You think so?
Yeah, because Klay was that perimeter defender, and Ja dropped 47 on Golden State when Gary Payton went out the game.
That's crazy. But, I mean, maybe because I do know that Clay was, at one point, a significant defender.
A lockdown perimeter defender. And now he is, after 3 severe injuries,
Right.
He's definitely not the same Clay. And he shouldn't be.
Right.
Right? Not right away. I feel like he can get back to that form, and I hope to see him get back to that form.
I hope so, too.
But because that would have been a good matchup in Clay post-injury on the perimeter against somebody like Ja Morant.
Right.
But they're going to miss Gary Payton.
They're going to need him. They're going to need him, or they're going to have to ramp up their offense.
Well, that can be done.
Yeah, that can be done.
That can be done.
Matter of milliseconds. All right, so this year's Sixth Man of the Year is Tyler Herrera. Congratulations, Tyler. Shout out. I feel like he deserved it. You know what I'm saying?
He was a clear-cut favorite.
He probably shouldn't even be a sixth man, but I understand.
Right.
When you that deep, you just deep. It is what it is. But shout out to him. Who you got in the Suns and Mavs series?
Phoenix. Dallas ain't beat Phoenix all year.
Man,
I don't see them beating them all year.
I can't see them beating them either, especially if they at full power.
Nah, they can't.
Like, truthfully, Phoenix might go back to the finals.
I see that. I see them in Golden State in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And that should be a great one.
That's going to be a fun one.
Because they've been like 1 and 2 in the West all year until Golden State ran into their little injuries.
Right.
And Memphis went on that little run. They've been the 2 best teams in the West pretty much all year.
Well, we'll see what you feel like the Mavs got to do to win.
Probably suit Jason Kidd back up and get him out the coaching. Get him off the sideline and back, running the point guard next to Luka.
Put Mark Cuban on the bench.
Yeah, put Mark Cuban as the coach and bring back Dirk to play small forward. You know what I mean? The Jet to run around and do a little airplane sprints after he hit a couple 3-pointers. Other than that, they don't stand a chance against Phoenix. They can't stop DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
And if they stop DeAndre Ayton, they can't stop Devin Booker. And they can't stop Chris Paul. And they got Mikal Bridges to kind of frustrate.
Defend. Yeah.
And they got Crowder to kind of frustrate Luka.
So, speaking of Luka, when Luka was drafted, so was Trey Young.
Right.
And just looking at the NBA playoffs now, it's, the Hawks is out and everything. And I was watching how Luka was shut down. Mm-hmm. He actually came in an interview and said, yeah, they shut me down, which I don't think I ever heard anybody, come out and just admit that what they did worked.
Right.
So, during that draft, Luka was originally drafted by Atlanta.
Correct.
And Trey Young was drafted by Dallas. By Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then they traded.
Right.
Who won?
Hey, look, it's odd because I was just talking to Chef Daniels the other day, and he said that the guy in Atlanta, the GM in Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
should be fired by now for making that trade. And I had to stop him. I said, hold on, that was kind of like the most fair trade I've ever seen in my life. And I said, if you want to be technical, Trey Young has had the better career thus far than Luka Doncic, because Trey Young has been to the Eastern Conference Finals. Prior to this year, Luka has never won a playoff series.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense when you really put it in that perspective.
And then Trey was the first player since Tiny Archibald to lead the league in total points and total assists in the same season. So it's not like Trey Young is over there struggling.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Luka ain't led the league in nothing.
So you know how I like to swap. If we swap them right now in this series that Dallas is going against the Suns in, do you think the Mavs give a better response?
It's kind of odd because I actually do, right? Simply based upon the fact that Trey Young is, I'm not going to say he's more difficult to guard, mm-hmm. but he would be more difficult for you to match up
right? Okay.
with Mikal Bridges.
So the game
because
plan
of
would
his
be different.
size, right? You would more than naturally put Chris Paul on Trey Young, and that'll be a long day for Chris Paul. And I like Chris, man. You know, I like him. I like all the Phoenix perimeter defenders, even Devin Booker. But Trey Young is just different.
Yeah.
You know, and Luka is different. But Luka moves a little slower.
A lot slower.
You know, well,
He
a
moves
lot
as
slower.
shitball.
He can't shoot nearly as good as Trey Young,
Right.
you know, from distance. You know,
But he's bigger.
yeah, he's bigger.
He's
That's
much bigger.
And it makes him easier for guys like Mikal Bridges and Crowder to defend.
But it also gives him much more vision on the court.
Right.
Because he's pretty much a white LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not with
He might be a little better than LeBron, especially at that age.
not from an explosive perspective.
No, nowhere near.
But just more so from his intelligence.
He got that IQ.
Right.
Right.
You know, that go
And
a
that's
long
what gives
way.
LeBron that advantage, that IQ mixed with that
Size
explosiveness.
And explosiveness, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? If Luka had LeBron explosiveness, then the league would be Luka's.
Yeah. 100%. So, the Charlotte Hornets is in search of a new coach. Michael Jordan is out here doing this thing. And one of the names that came up as a new coach was Mike D'Antoni. Now, in my opinion, Mike D'Antoni's some shit.
What Steven Smith say? What Steven Jackson say about it?
Steven
man? What they call
Jackson.
him?
Steven Jackson actually posted a comment. We're going to post it up here in a second. It says, Dear at Hornets, I love being a part of the alumni, but please, if you hire Dan Phoney, we will not win.
Dan
Melo
Phoney.
going to get his numbers, of course, but show me when the last time Dan Phoney won anything. So many other coaches out there was playing and coaching experience. Sam Cassell, Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, and so many. It's weird that Mike D'Antoni is still coming up in these coaching conversations.
That baffles me.
It
Like, what the hell did D'Antoni accomplish in the NBA other than small ball, offensive teams running up and down the court and playing no defense?
He's a defensive liability, and he's not even on the court. All he do is coach offense. He's a really good offensive coach, but I feel like great coaches, they on both sides. They strategize on both sides. They
You
know
got to
how
be able to
coach.
stop somebody.
Right. And, you know, when he had James Harden, he just kind of let them run wild. That's why I think James Harden was so successful.
Right. I will say this, though. If he was to get the job in Charlotte, they would be probably the most exciting team to
Absolutely.
watch offensively.
They're exciting now.
Now, that's why I say they're exciting now. So imagine if they was in D'Antoni's system where they was just running and letting it fly.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm definitely, if D'Antoni get the job, you can mark my words, I'm going to take every Charlotte Hornet game over. I don't give a damn what the total is.
Every Charlotte game.
Total can be 250. I'm taking it over. If D'Antoni get a coaching job in Charlotte with them young fools, I'm taking every game over.
Well, I mean, listen, I hope not, but
Yeah, I hope you know. I don't think I seen Michael Jordan make some dumb decisions in his day now.
well,
So,
he's
this would be by far
he's known
top
for
of
that.
the list, one of the dumbest if he hired. What my man say, Mike Dan Phoney.
Dan Phoney. All right, well, coming up, we got some NFL, talk about a little bit of DeAndre Hopkins. We also got some MLB with the Yankees, and who you got for the Stanley Cup. BetMoorSports will be back. Welcome back to the BetMoorSports Podcast. We're coming at you again live and direct from Norfolk, Virginia. We was talking before about the NBA, and we just got some interesting and breaking news come through. Ben Simmons is going to be getting back surgery.
In the news again.
It's going to have him out 3 to 4 months. Like he ain't already been out for 3.
He's been out 13 months.
So
What's 3 to 4 more?
what you think, Guru? You think he really getting some type of surgery done, or you think it's a ploy?
Well, like I say, they say the man had herniated disc in his back, right?
How you get it?
But then you was ready to come back game 3 Now your back is so severely injured that it requires surgery.
Yeah.
A surgery that you could have gotten in the 13 months that you've already been sidelined. I don't think Ben Simmons is ever going to play for Brooklyn. I never thought he was going to play for Brooklyn.
Listen, I'm almost convinced he don't want to play basketball.
I'm leaning towards that next.
He going to get this $20 million and then retire.
The man is
the extortion artist.
The man is the illest to ever do it. Robbery by way of trickery.
He know how to get money. That's for sure. That's a hustle mode every day.
They must teach that in Australia.
They teach something.
He's a scammer.
All right, so last week the NBA draft was. the NFL draft was pretty interesting. It was wide receiver riddled. I loved every second of it though, personally. Even though we ain't do a ton, but it didn't matter. We still got some issues. You know, the draft then came and went. I think for me, I was expecting Debo and Jimmy G to get traded and Baker Mayfield. And no, the people that I did not expect to get traded got traded. You know, so what you think of the draft, and what do you think of the transactions that occurred?
Excellent first round by the Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau and my big boy Evan out of Alabama, that left tackle. We had a great first round. You know, that was what stood out the most to me. And the Jets had an awesome draft.
The Jets had the best draft, I feel like.
I just hate that it's the Jets because they're going to still be the Jets.
Yeah.
I think that if the Jets put together that same draft for the next 5 years, they'll be Super Bowl contenders.
So you feel like they should make do a Philly thing and
trust the process.
Trust the process, exactly.
Yeah, trust the process.
Well, I can't say the Jets got a product of San Francisco, and as long as they got a product of San Francisco who know what he's doing on the defensive side, I feel like, truthfully, they'll be close to a playoff team this year. I feel like it's the second year for Zach, and he kind of have the expectations set. You know what I'm saying? It's only so many times that a person gonna be caught off guard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially based on the information that he was able to upload from last season. I'm pretty sure he is working on finding ways to get by the issues he had. But I feel like as far as his talent, he gonna be substantial.
I can't say that the organization has done everything that they can do as far as this draft and even the last draft to kind of surround him with the weapons that they needed. Like, they got steals after steal after steal in the draft. And it was just like, how are you getting all these players at the time that you're getting them?
It's interesting to see how it's going to be. And then they were a front runner at one point to get Deebo Samuel. And San Francisco was like, we ain't had that. That's not going to happen. We're not going to trade Deebo Samuel. And I think I'm the one that said we're not going to trade him.
Deebo would be a big help now. Like, he would fit like a glove with the Jets right now.
Absolutely.
In that offense.
But you want to know what I saw today online?
What you saw?
It looks like Deebo is going to sign with San Francisco. I don't think he's getting traded.
You must have opened up the checkbook.
Hey, listen, I think that he's realizing that ain't nobody going to pay him what he wants.
So did you pay the man out the BetMoorSports account, or do you pay him out the Fuller production account?
I tried to get it out the BetMoorSports account.
Or the Fuller photography account. Which one? Which account did you pay him out of?
Listen, I would have to go through all of them. Every last account, even my daughter's. You know, had to take all her money too. So, but all in all, I feel like we're going to keep him, and I feel like we're going to keep Jimmy G.
What do you want with Jimmy G, though? Like, if he's not going to start, what do you want with Jimmy G?
Listen,
that contract can't sit on the bench.
Right. That contract going to have to sit on the bench. And the only reason why I say that is wherever he go, he's probably going to sit on the bench.
No. No.
He's also
You're not going to pay that man that much money to be a backup quarterback.
when they paid him that much, he want to back up.
Exactly. So
Shit change.
nah, hell no. He gonna have to restructure.
So what
something.
you saying is that if you got a quarterback on your team that make $25 million a year, which ain't nothing now for a quarterback, and you got
not nothing for a quarterback.
right, quarterback's making $50 million a year.
$25 million a year for a backup quarterback.
No, at the time he got that $25 million.
But we're talking about now. We don't. Are you going to pay a backup quarterback? If you own a franchise, you're going to pay your backup quarterback $25 million, and your starting quarterback a rookie salary.
All I'm saying is, think about it this way: if you, the coach of a team, and your starting quarterback come in the game and stink up the place, and then you put your rookie in the game. Now, your starting quarterback didn't usually stink up the place.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so before he stunk up the place, he got paid. He get in the game, stink up the place, and then you put your rookie in, and your rookie come in, and he show command, take over. What you think gonna happen?
That's a great analogy. However, we can't compare a mid-season adjustment to a preseason decision to start a player that's on a rookie contract and bench a player that's making $25 million. That doesn't make good business sense. So that's kind of like not in the coach's control. That's in the owners and the GM's control, because they're going to look at the situation and say, hey, we could use that $25 million to help build a roster.
Absolutely, and I don't.
We could use that $25 million to help satisfy Deebo Samuels. We could use that $25 million to prepare to pay Trey Lance.
I think my biggest thing is like for San Francisco, for instance, they can't release him because they're gonna still be on the hook for that $25 million. You know what I'm saying? There's no trade partners out there for him right now. So are you saying that we should just start him again?
If he's on the roster, me personally, if he's on the roster, he should start. Like Trey Lance hasn't done enough to take his job.
I agree.
I haven't seen Trey Lance do enough to take the position. You know, it's kind of like a position that they're trying to give away in hopes that Trey Lance is who they drafted him to be.
I hope he's who they drafted him to be, because we didn't have a first-round pick this draft at all, bro. Like,
y'all had a horrible draft. Did y'all have a draft?
Yeah, we actually got Drake Jackson.
Who?
He was our second-round pick. So I'm interested. You know, I had to say Drake because, you know, Drake made that bet on the other Drake. Yeah, the other Drake.
He should have bet on both Drakes.
Hey.
And that's crazy that both Drakes went to USC.
Mm-hmm. I'll take them, though, especially in the second round.
So who won the draft?
The Jets.
Who lost the draft? Besides the Niners. And the Raiders. And that, why the hell was Jared Jones and his son getting so excited after they? Who the hell was these people drafting to make them this excited? Like,
man, I think they were just fronting.
They flashed on the war room.
And everybody
these
clapping.
people is ecstatic, and they drafting
bums.
bum after bum after bum, and the whole room is in bliss.
Hey, sometimes you might need to collect a significant amount of bums in order to be a Super Bowl winning team.
I see that they kind of criticized Belichick for his first round pick. But how can you criticize a guy with that many rings? Like,
my thing is, how can you criticize a person who picked like that every draft?
Yeah, and how do you question his direction? Like, the man is just, he don't give a damn about the draft board, the best available. He don't care if the guard that he drafted out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, was the 25th rated overall guard of the draft, or if he was the first rated. Man wanted him in the first round, and he took him.
Yeah, and my thing is, I think he's earned the right to make any decision and not it be seen as questionable.
And that man gonna probably be an all-pro.
Hey, it wouldn't surprise me though. It would not surprise me. It'll damn sure change the way people think and look at Belichick again, because if his genius extends that far, then I can tell you right now, it's gonna change the whole franchise again.
Absolutely.
You know, you kind of think after Tom Brady, that's it for them, but no, because they still got Bill, and Bill is he's a decisive person. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of that. He make a decision. He know what he want.
Right.
He look for it. He go get it, and he make it work for him.
So what would you rate the Eagles as far as their draft day? Not just the draft picks, the draft day trade for A.J. Brown and, you know, things of that nature.
Well, number one, that's what they needed.
Right.
So with them having Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown on the field at the same time, I feel like I would put their receiving core just under elite. Just under, though, because I don't feel like Devontae Smith has done enough to put them over. I don't feel like A.J. Brown done enough.
So they got a top 10 receiving core now?
As far as the core as a unit, absolutely.
Top 5.
Top 10. Don't push it. But, you know, I feel like that trade for Philly was the noise they needed to make because they didn't do nothing. The way the offseason has been ridiculously crazy, they did nothing.
Right.
And so they needed to make some type of splash, and this splash for them pretty much helped put them in a position where they might be considered a favorite for the NFC East, especially if the Giants start Daniel Jones.
Well, you know, that's going to happen anyway, but who is Philly going to start at quarterback?
Jalen Hurts.
You feel like they're the best team in the NFC East with Jalen Hurts?
I feel like Jalen Hurts not a bad quarterback.
I don't feel like it's bad neither.
I just feel like he doesn't have a ton of experience, and I feel like he don't have that security blanket, or he didn't have security blanket. He got one now, and now it's just time to see what he can do with it. You know what I'm saying? If he can't do nothing with what he got now,
is this a boom or bust year for him?
Boom or bust. Either he gonna perform and get himself some of that quarterback money, or he gonna get himself released or traded. We don't know. All I know is good luck, Philly. The NFC East still trash, even after the draft, but they're a little more interesting. So,
right,
you know, I'll take it. I mean, you kind of ain't got no choice. The Arizona Cardinals also traded for Hollywood Brown, and you know, I feel like that was a good, nice, timely trade.
Yeah, especially once the news broke that Deandre Hopkins was juicing.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Matter of fact, I'm sorry, Hollywood. We just gonna go past you real quick because DeAndre is a little bit bigger.
Go right by you, Hollywood.
What do you feel like DeAndre Hopkins? He decided that he won't appeal, which to me that admits guilt.
Right.
But what do you think that does for him as a player and as a possible Hall of Famer?
Well, if they doing a Hall of Fame like they doing every other sport, he probably can forget about it.
Yeah.
Especially in the first 5 or 6 or 7 ballots. You know, if we're looking at baseball and other sports of that nature, they don't take juicing.
I mean, not
right.
serious. Like
they take it very seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think I don't want to sound judgmental because I'm not that type of person. I believe like different performance enhancement supplements.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should be allowed by everybody. It makes the game better. Like I don't feel like it gives him. I feel like it gives him an advantage because if he's the only one doing it and the people that's checking him are not doing it,
right,
it makes him it gives him a little advantage. You know, that's why I feel like everybody should be able to do it.
I feel like we'll determine what his legacy is this year, because if he just get back in the game and his business as usual, he continue doing what he's been doing.
But how do we know he's not still on that shit?
Well, the NFL need to be on that. You know,
I'm sure they're gonna test him, but I'm sure they've been testing him before they found out. Like,
yeah, I mean,
how do we know that a person with this kind of contract, this kind of money, can't find a way to manipulate the system?
Let me ask you: you think that that's going to compromise him getting another payday?
It depends on, like you say, how he perform when they don't think he's doping, whether he's still doping or not.
Right. I understand. That's a tough pill to swallow, man.
Definitely, man. Because I was a big D Hop fan.
Right.
Like,
and I'm still
I had
a
him
fan.
right there as the number one receiver, but I can't say he's the best receiver in the league if he had an advantage.
Now the question is, who else been juicing?
Inquiring minds would like to know.
Who else been out there
So you suspend a man.
for 6 games?
No. You suspend a man a full season for betting on his team.
Right. That's crazy.
When he wasn't even playing
God,
football.
That is crazy.
And then you suspend a man 6 games for cheating. Where's the integrity of the game? Like, I'm kind of lost with the integrity of the game rule.
I think it's all a formality. You know what I'm saying? I think it's kind of like a mandatory minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like one of those things where
mandatory minimums need to be written in stone, though. Like, that need to be in the rule book.
Right. It shouldn't be
like, because both of them are forbidden. It's stated that it's forbidden to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's stated in every sport that it's forbidden to take performance enhancement drugs.
I think
which is a bigger black eye to the sport?
The gambling.
The gambling doesn't give you an advantage on the field if it's a game in which you're not even a part of. Like, the man was away from the team.
Right, but I don't think that you can measure the gambling side based on whether or not he was there. It's one of those things where if you gamble, that's breaking the rule.
I kind of think that should fall into the mandatory minimum. That kind of makes you an accessory and not the actual. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a different law when you're not a part of the team and you're just really a spectator. You know, it's not like I'm betting on a game that I'm playing in versus I'm taking performance enhancement drugs to gain an advantage over my opponent in the games that I'm playing in.
Right. So I guess in that type of situation, it'll be frank to say they should consider each of those situations by the details.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For instance, if B-Hop took a performance enhancing something in the off season and he just took a test for it now, you know what I'm saying? And they found it in the system, and it could have been a Viagra that just got something in it that's illegal, and he might not have known, hypothetically speaking, of course.
Right.
But do you base it off of that, or do you just base it off it was found in your system, so you got to be held accountable for it?
Right. And we don't know right at this time what the performance enhancement drug was, so we can't speculate on that. But however, it's to me kind of like when they give a man 40 years for selling drugs and they give a man 10 years for murder.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
that's
what I mean?
Exactly
like, it. Or they give a person that's out here, harming little children 18 months and they give a drug dealer 30 years.
Yeah,
like,
that's
where's the fairness in any of this? Like, if I take a drug that gives me an advantage on the football field, one of the most physical sports out there, and I take a drug that make me maybe faster or stronger or even more physical,
Mm-hmm.
And D-Hop is a physical receiver. And if you look back at some of the games in which D-Hop was fighting and carrying on, and that might have been due to the fact that
he had an anger.
The man was on that shit.
Them roads. But I mean, listen, I don't want to take too much away from D-Hop.
No, I don't either.
Once the details come out in regards to what happened or what he took, then I feel like that'll put some things into perspective. And then if he come out on the field and perform the way we're accustomed to seeing, if he fall off, then his career is going to be defined by
absolutely
the performance enhanced. But if he
I don't see him really falling off too much. Like, it depends on what because I don't know how steroids really affect you in that game.
Right. That's why I said if he fall off, then yeah, they're gonna hold that against him.
Right.
But if he continue where he left off, then it's a question at that point. Like you said, is he still doing it, or is he just good and we should treat him as such?
And it makes you look at him like, when did you start doing it?
Right. Like, bruh,
you know
what the
I mean?
hell?
Was you doing it the whole time, or you know what I mean? Like,
the key question is why.
We don't, but see, if you don't know when he started, you don't know why. Maybe he was a dud.
Maybe he was a bum and didn't know how to get
right.
off.
Because who was really D-Hop coming out of college? Was he a top receiver coming out of college? He was good in college, but I don't think like people foresaw him being the greatest receiver in the NFL at no time. And was he juicing in college? We don't know.
It gets deeper.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
But I know one thing for sure. You can take all the performance enhancement drugs you want to take and work for BetMoorSports.
Come on.
We don't care.
We'll hire you. We'll sign your contract.
As long as you know how to pick a winner, come on, man. If the performance enhancement drugs make you pick better, we want you.
Hey. And listen, if they got some performance enhancing handicapper drugs that people can take, let me know.
Send them my way. Because if I get any better at this,
if you get better at it, it's retarded. Like, it ain't gonna make sense.
And I'm gonna
you're
get
gonna
better.
go to prison because they're gonna be like, you lying and you cheating. Golly. So the Saints, one of the biggest things that we've been looking at,
Honey Badger,
is where is Tyrann Mathieu gonna go? And he's been in the free agent market for a while. Out of all the splashes that he did not make one until now. The Saints signed him 3 years, $33 million with $18 million guaranteed. What do you think about that pick for the Saints, and what is it going to do for them?
Hell of a pick for the Saints. It definitely boosts up their defense.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely. I think they lost, what was the guy named that was playing safety for them? You know, sometimes names come in my head and they go.
Dude from the Eagles, right?
Yeah, he played for the Eagles. I think Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins.
I think he just retired or left.
He did. He retired.
So, I mean, that's an excellent fit.
Absolutely.
Fit, you know what I mean? Like a perfect fit. And you know, the Honey Badger is a Louisiana guy.
Yeah, he
went to LSU and he's from Louisiana, so he's back home.
Yeah, if he keep going the way he could finish there.
Definitely back home, man, with Woody and them.
Woody, what's up? I feel like that's a good pick for them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it's going to do for their team overall because they still got Jameis Winston at quarterback. And while I feel like Jameis Winston, he has improved a tiny, itty-bitty bit, he hasn't improved enough.
You know, Jameis Winston is a Florida State Seminole now, so it's only a certain amount of bashing and he's a national champ.
In my world,
so it's only a certain amount of bashing that you're going to be able to get away with.
In my world,
Jameis Winston.
That Florida State stuff ain't been the same since Peter Ward.
Jameis Winston. He won a national championship.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, since Jameis then. Because I remember Peter.
Peter was the GOAT. Shout out Peter Ward, man. That's my guy.
Sorry, Ron.
Damn. Why you bring that man up? Last time I seen Peter Ward at the Florida State game, I said, God damn, why you do my homeboy like that, man? You know this my homeboy, right?
Right.
But
that's
being a Florida State fan, I loved every minute of it.
During that time, I was still a UNC fan, but I was rooting for Virginia Tech because it was just
I was rooting for the Hokies too until they played the nose in the championship.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to lose by 30. And I won some big money on Florida State that day too.
And they probably lost by 30.
Nah, they put up a good fight to the second half.
Oh.
So Peter Ward did this on the punt return, and they punt the ball to him. Virginia Tech won't the same after that.
So disrespectful. Man. Okay, so also during not during the draft, but over the weekend, your boy OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. his Twitter fingers was gone. It was gone. He
itching.
He posted that he talked to Debo and he got some tea, and he was telling some shit. I spilled the tea. First off, that's some punk shit to do. To go right on Twitter and say, should I spill the tea?
What man say spill the tea?
Exactly.
That never crossed my mind, never come out my mouth. I got the motherfucking tea. I remember somebody asked me one day, say, you got the tea? I said, what the hell is you talking about? Goddamn, I don't tea?
Talking about you got the tea. And then Debo posted, go on here, bro.
Debo say, did you see after he made the last tweet? Because he had made another tweet after that say, Debo to the Patriots, wow. Debo say, At this point, man, that man just bored.
And then Trey Lance popped up in there too and was just like good news only. You know what I'm saying? So it was odd that my man OBJ had that mentality to go out there and just troll.
He bored.
They're
trolling to the max.
Bored.
He bored, man.
That trolling is a skill
If
set.
you that bored, man, come holler at us, OBJ. You know I'm a huge fan. Come holler at us, man. We got plenty of activities for you to get yourself involved in if you got that much free time on your hands.
So, OBJ is also a free agent, right?
Right.
Probably not going to get signed no time soon. But my man Cam Akers, he said, you know what, I'm going to take that number 3.
Another Florida State guy.
Oh, gosh. Florida State.
Killer Cal.
And Odell got a problem with it. Like, he on the team. Like, bruh, you ain't on the team. You can't call the number and say, that's my number. But you ain't on the team. Cam Akers is on the team.
Yeah.
But Odell ain't on the team yet. So, what you think of that? Like,
Odell tripping.
That's some diva-ish.
Odell, you took the words right out of my mouth. My man being a super diva. And like I say, Odell, you know, once a giant, always a giant. So I'm a big Odell fan, and Cam Akers, Florida State guy. So I can't referee this one. But my man tripping. My man say, "Goddamn, bro, like why you get the number 3? Like, man, that's the number
Right.
That's what I wanted.
Like,
I'm on the team." Nigga, you ain't on the team. Nigga, you don't have a dog in this fight.
Exactly. How you questioning what I got? Like, your contract valid.
Right. You don't have a contract. So if you come back to the team, they'll just wear another number.
But you know what my problem is with Odell right now? Bruh, you should just be focused on getting that knee right.
Right.
Because you suffer way too many injuries to be tweeting and going at people over numbers. Get your numbers up. You get your numbers up, then you go about a number.
I still got a little beef with Odell for not catching that ball when he got injured.
Oh, my gosh.
It cost me all that money in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was a substantial injury. And, you know, get well soon, Odell. But you cost me a lot of money, boy.
Sure hope so. Because, golly, I tell you one thing. I hope he get on the field this year. He probably won't. Even though people recovering from ACL injuries like they done jammed their finger. Or
he recovered quickly from the first one, very quickly. And Adrian Peterson recovered the second time quicker than he did the first time.
That's the problem. Because Adrian Peterson, he ain't just recover. He recovered and came back and had the best year of his career.
I feel like Odell can do the same with the right team.
I don't feel like he'll ever have a better career than he's had up to this point.
I feel like if he stay with the Rams and he's healthy, he will have way better numbers based solely upon the fact that he won't be double or triple at no time with Cooper Kupp on the other side and Allen Robinson.
I think the problem is sometimes you got to take from Peter to feed Paul, but having too much firepower can be a problem.
In some cases, but not with a gunslinging quarterback and an offensive, air-rated minded head coach.
I just know players like Cooper Kupp, he got to have his touches.
He's going to get them.
And then Allen Robinson, they're going to have to get him acclimated.
Right.
But then you have a diva coming in there with Odell.
That was there and was a big part of why you won the Super Bowl. In the playoffs, Odell showed up.
Absolutely. But a big part of that also is because Robert Woods tore his ACL, and that opened the door for him where they needed him to fill that spot. Right now they got Allen Robinson.
But he was still a diva.
Yeah, he was still a diva. So there's a couple of variables that play into that. He was still a diva. He was also with the Browns.
Right.
And the Browns pretty much made him feel like he needed to step it up. So I think he was just happy to be on the field. And now it's going to be different.
He was happy to be on the field with a quarterback that would actually look his way and throw him the ball.
Right. Exactly. And now Baker Mayfield Don't even know if he's going to play next year.
Got a spot
Speaking
for
of
you too,
which,
Baker.
Draft is over. I don't even think people need quarterbacks no more because it was one quarterback drafted in the first round, and then the next one after that came in like the third round. So what do you think that means for Baker Mayfield, for instance? Jimmy G will be fine because, again, we'll keep him. But I'm pretty sure paying Deshaun Watson $230 million fully guaranteed, they're not going to want to keep and take on that $18 million from Baker Mayfield. So at what point is they going to give him away? Because that's what's going to happen.
What you mean, release him?
No, they're going to have to trade him for peanuts.
But that's all he worth.
Not the $18 million. Say a little different,
and not the Planters peanuts.
Damn,
the great value
7-Eleven,
the great value peanuts, or the Food Line brand.
That is, man. Well, I'm just looking forward to us re-signing Debo.
But Seattle still needs a quarterback. But Seattle kind of said they removed their name from the hat.
Right? Didn't Seattle get a quarterback in the draft? No, they didn't. Did they?
No.
They went straight past it every time because I thought they was gonna get Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Every time it came up,
disrespected Malik Willis.
Yeah.
I think he would have been a great fit. I think he's a great fit for Tennessee, though. Honestly,
he's probably a better fit for Tennessee
because he's gonna be able to sit for a year or two.
Not only that, but it's a run-heavy team.
Right,
and he
contributes to that, and he has the strongest arm.
Right,
but they need a receiver to replace AJ Brown.
That's the problem. They need a receiver.
Debo would be a good fit over there.
Bro, Debo not going nowhere. Listen, if
Odell would be a good fit in Tennessee.
Odell would be a good fit. I feel like Odell can go there and be a number one receiver.
Anybody signed Juice Landry
yet? Somebody did. The Falcons, I think.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. Landry would have been a good pickup there, too.
Would have been a great pickup.
But, I mean, hey, all I know is I'm looking forward to the season because I want to see all these changes put in motion because there's so many of them. It's going to be so hard to keep up in the beginning, of course, with all the changes until you see them in motion. And, you know, it's going to, listen, podcast day then is going to be substantial, boy. I tell you. Ooh, wee.
So now that the draft is over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we declared the winners and the losers of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite to win it all? Who is the best team? Who is the best team in the NFL after post draft?
Post draft, best team in the NFL. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Better than the Rams.
Better than the Rams, absolutely. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is just a well-rounded squad, period. And I feel like they are, they have that. The mentality of the team is the Tom Brady mentality. You know, people feel like Tom Brady is the GOAT and that he bring a ton to the table, but what people don't realize is that he bring the mentality to the table, and that mentality changed a lot of the thought process that a lot of his teammates have. The moment his teammates see him, they mentality is, oh, I'm playing with the GOAT. I got to up my game. You know what I'm saying? And I've actually read an interview, and I can't think of who the player was, but he was just saying to himself, you know, he had got picked for the Pro Bowl, and he looked at Tom Brady and was like, yo, I got to the Pro Bowl. It was like, man, that don't matter. He said there's only one game that matters, and that's the game we're trying to get
Super
to.
Bowl.
Right. And he said that changed his whole mentality. He had to conclude that it's not about him and that it's always a bigger goal. And that's the TB mentality, you know, TB12. So along with their personnel, I feel like the mentality makes a difference. Is it going to be a dogfight? Absolutely. I can see Green Bay in the mix. I can see the Rams in the mix. Yeah.
What the hell did Green Bay do to put them in the mix besides getting rid of their best receiver?
I don't think it's about.
And they do still have Aaron Rodgers, who is
that's
a
the
cold biscuit in the postseason.
He's a James Harden in the postseason. I mean, right now he is. I hate to use that analogy because he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he
James
did win
Harden
a championship, so I don't want to make that comparison. But they're kind of the same.
But as of lately,
I don't want to make that comparison though.
Okay.
Man, dude got at least one championship.
Well, okay, he's Anthony Davis.
He's an Anthony Davis.
Well,
I go with that.
Okay. But I feel like that he's still gonna get his team there. They just not gonna get over the hump.
Right. He lost his 2 best receivers though.
Yeah, he did, but you never know. They could have picked up something in the draft that's gonna make a substantial difference. They in the Debo sweepstakes, even though Debo ain't going nowhere. But you never know if you give him Debo, that might change the element of the game too.
That'd be a good place for Odell to go to.
Oh yeah, if I feel like Odell has it in him where he can go to any good quarterback and be great. If you go to the Giants right now, not gonna happen.
Come the Giants slander.
If you go to the Commanders, it's not gonna happen. He could go to the Dallas Cowboys. It's not gonna happen.
But he'll be a good fit in Dallas.
He'll definitely be a good fit.
He'll be a great fit back with the Giants.
No, he won't.
Great fit. We'll welcome him with open arms.
You're definitely welcome because you need him. But I just don't feel like you gotta have quarterbacks that minimize their mistakes and capitalize on opportunities. And the one thing that the NFC East lack is those type of quarterbacks. So when you talk about it, Aaron Rodgers, even Denver, send one of them to Denver and watch Denver be in the Super Bowl conversation easily. You know what I'm saying? So, oh no, all I know is it's one of those things that NFL can't come fast enough. Golly. Come on, man.
I can't wait. And look, on the next podcast, I'm going to give you actually the record that BetMoorSports was handicapping NFL games.
Oh, that's even better. You can see the guru at his best.
So when these new NFL packages roll around, you will see how much money BetMoorSports won their subscribers during the NFL season. And it was a ton of money.
Absolutely.
Believe that. It was a ton of money.
Well, I know one thing. I'm going to be sitting right there ready to get that money. Coming up, we got some Yankees. The Yankees are on an 11-game win streak. We're going to talk about
Yankees.
that. We got the Stanley Cup coming up, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then we got overrated, underrated, and we got the Guru's pick of the day. We'll be back.
Don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to the BetMoorSports Podcast. We're coming at you again live from Norfolk, Virginia. We appreciate you by far. And let's get into some MLB from the gate. The New York Yankees has won 11 games straight.
Let's go Yankees.
11 games straight. That says a ton about the Yankees, but what you think it means?
It's too early.
It's too early.
I'm a huge Yankee fan. I don't like to get excited about the Yankees around this time of year, but I'm excited.
It's
because
odd.
it's expected.
It's odd because if you can win like that, I feel like you should win like that.
Right.
You know?
I think right now is the fact that we kind of started off slow and we actually lost the series to the Baltimore Orioles earlier in the year, and Toronto beat us up pretty bad. People was kind of just already writing the Yankees off, and it's like the first one of the baseball season, and y'all done wrote the New York Yankees off. I've seen a ton of handicappers talking about the Yankees like the Yankees couldn't win a baseball game, and then we won 11 in a row.
I bet they're picking them now.
Absolutely. They was picking them then, to be honest, and they was kind of upset that they was losing. But now that they're winning, they're cashing in. I know we cashed in on a lot of Yankee bets because BetMoorSports kind of bet the Yankees all the time.
Yeah, and there's no bias.
There's no bias, but it's bias.
Yeah, okay.
But not when it comes to not when it comes to actually handicapping the games. You know, when it comes to the Guru's picks, the Guru's not going to give you the Yankees unless he feel the Yankees is a lock.
Absolutely.
Now, the Guru might go and bet the Yankees himself based upon his own personal feelings, but I will give you Baltimore against the Yankees. I will give you Toronto versus the Yankees. I will give you anybody against the Yankees if I feel like the Yankees is going to lose.
Right.
No, I'm not going to mess up the subscribers' money.
Not at all.
It's bad for business.
Guess who's a subscriber? I am.
You co-owner. What the hell are you talking about, a subscriber?
I gotta be a subscriber for my owner. Also, we got the Stanley Cup the Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Let's go Rangers.
Or the NHL Playoffs, rather. And this year in the NHL, it has been significant. I feel like they're scoring way more than they've ever scored before.
A lot of good hockey been played.
Like, every game that I see, even when I'm going to bet, because, again, it's a lot of winning bets to get on NHL, but I see a lot of games just over 7.777. I even seen one before the game started at like 8 over. And to have the expectation that he's going to score 8 goals in a game, I feel like that is crazy.
Before the Stanley Cup arrives, we're going to compile the numbers of the BetMoorSports hockey picks thus far.
At least.
So when next year comes, you'll know that it's mandatory that you get a hockey package.
Because I'm telling you, that hockey is, pay attention. If the guru give you a free hockey package, you better jump on that the moment he put it up. Or just nip it in the bud. Don't wait for it. Go to BetMoorSports.com and subscribe. With that said, though, it's NHL playoffs. Who you got?
Well, now I'm about to say something that's biased because the New York Rangers are kicking, alive, well, and kicking. But we have the team that can win the Stanley Cup, and we have the odds right now to bet that the Rangers is winning the Stanley Cup, and I think we like 1,600 to 1.
Hey,
and we've been a top team kind of all year. Like all of the good teams in hockey we've beaten. You know, all the Carolinas and the Tampa Bays and the Torontos and the Colorados, and we've beaten them all. However, I kind of see Tampa Bay is playing good hockey, man. Carolina's playing exceptional hockey right now. So I would kind of say between Florida's playing good hockey, but they let Washington beat them. In game 1 when they was a home favorite. A lot of home favorites lost game 1. Even the Rangers, we lost game 1 in a 3 overtime thriller.
I think that's the thing about hockey right now that's so different than what it's been in the past is that anybody can win. Like, it's no team that's far-fetchedly more dominant than any other team. An 8 seed can beat a 1 seed without it being a problem.
But see, that's the good thing about hockey, because hockey only sends the best to the postseason. Like, you can have a hell of a winning record and not make the postseason in hockey based upon the points. So hockey is one of those sports where when the playoffs come, it's damn near everybody's even, to be honest. It's a few teams that you'll sprinkle in there that's not on the caliber of some of the top tier teams, but that's few and far between. Like, right now is really the cup is anybody's. But I would say that Tampa Bay and Carolina.
Well, I got the Washington Caps. And I feel like the way they played against Florida last game is they look good, bro.
But Washington kind of plays Florida good anyway.
Yeah, the whole thing is they just got to maintain throughout. They can maintain throughout, I feel like they'll be fine, and I feel like they'll be in the Stanley Cup. Now, if they'll win it, I don't know. But I feel like they're going to be there. And when the Stanley Cup reach, if I'm right, you'll know it because I'm going to say it. I'm going to make sure that y'all know. But, yeah, that's my pick, Washington Caps. They play
not a bad pick.
They play well.
I think
man.
you're being biased because you like to pick a lot of teams close to Virginia. You do a lot of DMV picking, except for when it comes to your teams. You do a lot of DMV picking, man. Like,
I mean, but you do a lot of New York. Every team you got is from New York.
Yeah, but I don't pick them to win no damn championships.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're in a league that anybody can win.
And you don't have a hockey team, so, you know, of course your bias would be to the closest hockey team to you.
Right.
You could have if you
They
could have
family.
picked if you could have picked the Norfolk Admirals, you would have picked them.
I damn sure would have instantly. That would have been 100% biased. I would have been 100% biased. No lie. So let's get to one of my favorite segments of the podcast, and that is overrated, underrated. And this week it's the NBA edition. So I got a ton of NBA players out here that we're going to show, and we're just going to talk about whether they are overrated or whether they are underrated. Ready, set, and go. The first person that we're going to put on the screen is going to be that guy, Kyrie Irving with the Brooklyn Nets. So tell me, Guru, is Kyrie overrated or underrated?
Overrated, man.
He's overrated.
Based
okay.
upon the fact that they got swept out the playoffs and he was partnered with Kevin Durant, that makes him overrated, in my opinion. And I hated to say that. I really hated to say that because I'm a huge Kyrie Irving fan.
Well, watching him play, I don't feel like he's overrated. I
They
feel
got
like
swept
he's rated.
in the first round.
Right, but they got swept by a better team. Like, don't get me
Who
wrong.
who on Boston was quote unquote better than Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving?
Jason Tatum
Okay,
and Jaylen Brown.
No.
Both of them was better
in that series. No,
Right.
we're talking about coming into the series. If you say I got Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant and I got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, you're not going to say, oh, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is going to sweep Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. That didn't cross nobody's mind.
Nobody's going to ever say.
If you didn't get a win in the playoffs, you are overrated. I'm willing to say Kevin Durant is overrated right now based upon that series. And that's my favorite player
See what you did?
in the NBA.
Golly.
Medic. Medic.
I don't feel like that he's overrated. I feel like he played the way I expected
Man, the
him.
man said that he was better than Allen Iverson. He's overrated.
He ain't say that out loud, did he?
No, he didn't say it, but the people said it.
Man, listen. I don't.
I'm a huge Kyrie Irving fan though, but I'm gonna give you next year to prove me otherwise. Right now, you're overrated, in my opinion. It's the Guru talking.
I'm not a Kyrie fan, and I feel like they may have had more cards stacked against them than anything. And I feel like they need to get rid of Steve Nash, and Kyrie
Totally
need to change
agree.
his mentality. Shit, he probably need to go on and get vaccinated, even though they got them ended the ban.
Kyrie might retire.
That would not surprise me, bro, at all.
Kyrie the Ricky Williams of goddamn basketball.
Damn, that's terrible. But that's a real analogy, bro. Because Ricky Williams was tripping. My man ain't want to play football no more, so he could smoke weed. Next up,
Imagine Ricky Williams having to get vaccinated.
Oh my gosh, no chance. We got Julius Randle next up, and
Bum sauce.
he's a New York Knick, so I had to put him up there for you, Guru. Overrated, underrated.
You put the perfect picture up there for him because that's what I give him. A thumbs down.
Let's put it back up there. Thumbs down.
Man got a max contract and Cole Bishop. He's not the leader of a team. Need to get rid of you. And I like Julius Randle. Like I said, I never hate on nobody who's getting money. But on the Knicks, we don't want you.
So what they say about the Knicks though? They gave Julius Randle a max deal.
The man played good basketball that year. He played what they call fool's goals basketball. He played
Did he play
well
max deal
enough.
basketball?
Huh?
Did he play max deal basketball?
He played well enough to
Be
be a franchise player.
Oh.
Right? In their opinion, not my opinion. Because they the one who wrote him the check. Nowhere in the hell I would have wrote him that check.
Right. Yeah. I
No,
probably.
hell no.
I can't see that being the case. I feel like he played well, but not max deal well. No chance. Next up.
You ain't give me a rating, though. Did you say he was overrated or underrated?
Oh, I didn't, did I?
No, because
He's definitely overrated by far. Like I don't see him coming close to a max deal at this point. He got his money and then stopped balling.
he only balled really Like,
for a year.
And I think the coach Tibbs had a lot to do with it.
Okay. I mean, I can't see that being wrong. But I feel like still, like, I feel like the Knicks should have had a much better season, especially with the personnel they had. Kemba Walker, for him to not be able to, build the rapport that he needed to be successful. I don't feel like that system probably worked for him.
We need a new coach.
But yeah, I got players that's gonna make a difference. What's the young boy from Duke?
Cam Reddish?
No.
Oh,
the other one.
Oh, the Canadian.
Yeah.
My mind be drifting sometime.
Yeah. That's what will happen to mine right now. His first name is an initial, right? RJ
Barrett.
RJ Barrett. There you go.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
Man, work with me.
Bruh, brain fart season. But yeah, like I feel like he is positioning himself where as long as he can be consistent, at some point it'll be his team.
I don't really think he's a franchise player type of caliber player. I think he's a solid number 2.
You don't think he can develop into that?
No.
Well, you heard it from the guru.
I would like
and he a
to
Knicks
see
fan, so
us get Dame Dollar
not gonna happen.
and Zion Williamson. To pair with RJ Barrett, and then we'll have something that looks like a basketball team.
But y'all will still be the Knicks, so I think at the end of the day,
Don't disrespect the Knicks like the Knicks won't popping.
When was they popping?
Through the 90s.
When the last time the Knicks was popping?
The whole 90s. When Carmelo Anthony was there, we was popping. Carmelo and
how many finals did they go to during that time?
In the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
2.
They went to 2 finals in the 90s.
Yeah.
How many did they win?
We didn't win in there.
Okay. I'm just trying to define what popping is. Lakers is popping. We was shit this year.
We was relevant in the 90s. Like, you knew that when you played the New York Knicks, you had to play basketball. Like,
okay.
A lot of people didn't win finals when Michael Jordan
yeah.
and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson was playing, and Isaiah Thomas. It was pretty much them throughout the whole 90s. I don't really see nobody else. Who else won championships in the 90s besides the Lakers, Celtics, Pistons, and Bulls?
Well, I know Seattle went, right?
And the Rockets.
And the Rockets, yeah, okay.
And the Rockets won 2 years when Jordan retired.
Everybody won when Jordan retired.
So,
okay.
That's kind of between them teams. They kind of dominated the 90s. But the Knicks was there, and the Spurs. The Spurs beat us one time. The Spurs beat us. I think that was in the 2000s, though. I think that was right at the end of 99, 2000.
Okay.
Spurs beat us. And Patrick Ewing, then we was kind of banged up in the finals.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's move
But Julius
forward.
Randle is overrated.
He's a bum at this point. In my eyes.
Mine too.
LeBron James. He
King
is
James?
considerably one of the better NBA players. People are calling him the GOAT. I don't understand why, but to each his own. I feel like he's overrated.
I feel like LeBron is LeBron, right? The only reason why I would say he's overrated is if we're talking GOAT conversation. If you're saying GOAT conversation, yes, he's overrated. If you're saying far as basketball-wise and we're just eliminating Jordan and we're just not speaking about who's the greatest of all time, we're just talking about LeBron James' career and his accolades, I'm going to say he is
I don't
King
feel like
James. I'm not going to say he's overrated.
I don't feel like that you can have that
overrated.
conversation about LeBron and it not be a GOAT-like conversation. And that's only based on his body of work. But I feel like he's overrated because you notice a change in LeBron when he don't get what he wants.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a difference maker. He also is responsible for a lot of the bullshit that's in the NBA now. Flopping, which I ain't gonna put that totally on him.
He's definitely
but
a flopper.
He's a flopper. You know what I'm saying? And that crying to the ref and all that stuff. He's a big part of why the game is as soft as it is now. And, you know, I feel like we giving him far more credit than he should get. And I'm a Laker fan, but we're giving him far more credit than he should get on the floor. Off the court, he the GOAT. When it comes down to philanthropy and things of that nature, he's the GOAT for NBA players because he make it a point to make his presence felt. But on the court, I just feel like and then he don't act like a Hall of Famer. He act like the rookies that come in the league. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
And it's just one of those things, like the way that you carry yourself make a difference.
What I'm not going to agree with you on is the fact that he's overrated.
Okay.
Not going to say that. I'm not going to say he's overrated. So I'm going to say LeBron James is kind of LeBron James. I'm not going to say I'm upset, but I don't know why you put the king on the screen in an overrated, underrated segment.
Listen, I just feel like he overrated just because, you know, when you put him in the conversation as the GOAT, I don't feel like he belongs.
Well, no. But now, that's why I'm saying that's a totally different conversation.
All right, so next,
I'm going to say he's the King James.
He's the king. What about this guy right here?
Zion Williamson.
Zion Flying Williamson. Now, this guy is, he can't pretty much, he ain't been in the league that long, but so far, I think either the organization is being too cautious or he can't hold his own weight. For that reason, I feel like he overrated.
Well, I'm not going to say he's overrated because I want him to come to the Knicks and he might watch the podcast and see that I say that he's overrated and not come to the Knicks. Yeah. So, Zion, you're underrated, boy. Come to the Knicks.
Zion.
And if you play like Julius Randle, I'm going to say your ass overrated.
I think my thing is what happens now for him. Like, the biggest reason why he's been out is because pretty much his feet, or
I think pretty much the reason why he's been out is because he don't want to be in New Orleans.
Well, he said he want to be in New Orleans. He said he will re-sign with New Orleans right now if they offer him an extension.
I wish you could play the clip of Kyrie Irving saying the same exact thing in Boston.
Kyrie did say that
before he took his past skates and skated to Brooklyn.
I'm out of here, boss.
That's what they all say.
See y'all later.
Till it's time to goddamn move on.
Well, I feel like he overrated just because, like, if you think about it now, if his explosiveness is his Achilles heel, what more do he got to offer outside of his explosiveness?
Not a whole lot.
Hence my reason for him being overrated. But when he was at Duke, he was a beast. When he was in high school, he was a beast. And when his first season with New Orleans, he was still a beast. So I just feel like if he could come back into the game and, you know, he doing videos of between the leg dunks and all type of stuff. Bro, if you doing that, why you ain't playing?
He doesn't want to be in New Orleans.
Well, we always got a spot for you in L.A. You're overrated, but shit, we need everything we can get at this point. Trade LeBron. Next up, Drew Holiday.
Underrated.
Drew Holiday is 100% underrated. He is. Listen, I feel like Drew Holiday is one of those everything gods. And I said gods, meaning guards, but it came out gods. So you know what that means. I feel like Drew Holiday should be an all-star every year. I feel like he is a true
He has that potential.
baller. He play on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely.
And there's not a lot of people that do that. Play on both sides of the ball. So, by far. Next. Anthony Davis, I feel like, is overrated, and that's only because he can't stay healthy. He's big. He move.
Overrated.
He move guard-like. You know what I'm saying? Like his skill set could be that of a guard. And I think the biggest problem that he faces is that he don't want to play in the paint. So, where he plays, it requires him to move more than his body is going to allow him to move. And I think that's why he go through a lot of the injuries that he go through. when your foot is big, like Shaq had a lot of foot injuries because he wore 24, 22 size shoe. You know what I'm saying? And when you got bones that big and that small on your feet, and your feet is one of the key elements of basketball, naturally you're going to get injured. And whoever pick them up when we trade them, Lord, please trade them. They're going to deal with that too. I mean, that's just a part of the game. Right. You know? But, again. He's overrated. But he did come and help us get a championship.
And I say he's overrated because they compare him to Tim Duncan and the greatest power forwards in NBA history. Listen, and he is not that.
Has anybody asked questions like why Tim Duncan hasn't incurred the injuries that Anthony Davis has incurred?
They play a different style of basketball.
Exactly. And that's my whole point. The style that Anthony Davis play,
Tim Duncan was Mr. Fundamentals. Like,
right.
He had a game that it wasn't overpowering. It wasn't, I'm going to get on a low block and spin and dunk on you, Shaq type. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It wasn't the physical Kevin Garnett type game, but it was post up, face up, backboard. Post up, pump fake to the basket, score. You know what I mean? Tim Duncan was arguably the greatest power forward of all time.
Right. And I feel like a lot of it too, while he is the big fundamental, he used fundamental footwork.
Right.
And that made a substantial difference. And that's one thing that Anthony Davis is not bringing to the table right now because think about it. Where's most of his injuries at? His foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Lower extremities.
Right. So it's just one of those things where, you know, if he might want to take a look at the big fundamental and see how he can incorporate that in his game.
He might need to take a look at professional handicapping.
Next up, we got this man right here, Trey Young.
Ice Trey the gang.
He's young, and they call him Ice Trey for a reason, and he is underrated in my opinion. And that's only because he's the smallest person on the floor every game. Yet he is the most difficult to cover, except for his last series where somebody covered him and the coach did not make adjustments like he was supposed to.
I would like to see those who said that Trey Young was going to be a bust when he got to the NBA.
Yeah.
Coming out of Oklahoma, a lot of people said that Trey Young was going to be a bust.
Or Trey Young and they're busting now. Busting them down.
Is he?
Boy, I tell you.
Underrated.
Underrated 100%. I'm all for it. And then last but not least, this is probably, in my opinion, the most underrated player in NBA history.
The point guard. Not guard.
Exactly.
Point guard.
Say that twice, golly. Listen, my man is a player coach.
PG3.
And, you know, I feel like Chris Paul is one of the most underrated guards. Every team he go to, he take them to the playoffs. He literally, from what I've seen him go to almost every team he's gone to was not a playoff team before he came there. And after when it was time for him to go, there was a playoff team. You know what I'm saying? He does it every time, and I think that it's a mentality thing, kind of like how I feel about Tom Brady mentality. I mean, his is not as severe.
I'm gonna stop you before you go a little bit further.
Uh-huh.
0 rings.
Mentality.
Not 0
achievement.
rings compared to 6. What do you got? 6, 7?
7, yeah.
7 rings. Stop. No.
I get
Don't do it.
I'm just speaking as far as
John Stockton, Karl Malone.
I'm speaking as far as like
I can't say they own the same mentality if that man don't have no championships.
Listen,
and that man got 7.
Can't win it by himself.
I don't want to put them two in the same conversation.
The only reason why
I'm
even bringing them up is because it's based on mentality. He
give
changed
me
the
another mentality of another player.
Who else? I don't know.
I don't know.
Russell Wilson?
Me neither.
You know what I'm saying?
He got a 1 and Ben a 2.
The only reason why I mentioned,
but I take Russell Wilson before Tom Brady.
I only mention Brady is because Brady make his teammates better mentally, and Chris Paul make his teammates better mentally.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that Chris Paul perform at the level of Tom Brady or that he is at the stature of Tom Brady, because he'll never be that. But I feel like that when he go to a team, no matter what team it is, he changed the mentality of his teammates.
He changed the culture, and he makes them better.
Absolutely. And he don't just make them better. They're a playoff team.
We're talking about arguably the GOAT.
He ain't arguably the GOAT. He is the GOAT.
Okay.
Like, that's not an argument.
I got some
no more.
49er fans that will say Joe Montana's the GOAT.
Well, bring him up here with this 49er fan and have him debate it with me.
Bino Davis.
Bino.
I'm calling you out.
Bino. Listen.
Dwayne Brock, I'm calling you out.
Dwayne, truth is truth, man. I'm just a person of truth. Plain and simple. Tom Brady is the GOAT.
The GOAT.
There's nobody that's going to.
Chris Paul is the point guard.
Right. Which
And
make him a point guard GOAT.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Absolutely.
Until he wins a championship, I'm going to say he's overrated.
Whoa. Did you just overrate him based on the championship win? Ah.
Nah, I'm not going to do that. No, he underrated, man. I like Chris Paul. Chris Paul a lot.
Chris Paul makes a difference, and I'm a big fan of it. So that does it for overrated, underrated segment of the BetMoorSports Podcast. Coming up, it's the one thing that I'm pretty sure that a lot of y'all been waiting for. It's the Guru's Pick of the Day.
Don't want to miss it.
We'll be back. Peace. And now it's time for the Guru's Pick of the Day.
The Guru's Pick of the Day for Cinco de Mayo is the New York Rangers minus 155 on the money line. Money line, the New York Rangers minus 155 to even the series tonight. Now have a few margaritas while you cash your ticket in at the window on the Guru. Take everything you can beg, borrow, and steal and put it on the New York Rangers minus 155 on the money line.
And that's the game. I just want to take the time to thank everybody once again for tuning in to the BetMoorSports Podcast. Keep in mind, this weekend it's going to be lit. It's some NBA playoffs. We got boxing, which includes Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol. And we also got UFC 264, Charles Oliveira against Justin Gaethje. That's going to be a great one. So tune into it all. We'll see y'all next week.
Don't forget to tune in to the BetMoorSports Live.
BetMoorSports Live, BetMoorSports.com, BetMoorSports on every social media outlet. Take a look at the screen and you'll see it at some point. But with that being said, thanks for coming. Thanks for calling. Thanks for everything else. I don't know what that means, but I'm just saying something. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, BetMoorSports, we out. Peace.
Till next time.